watching Aaron Judge today.
Uh-huh.
And a good buddy of mine, Cecil, is Richie Sexton. He's
Love him.
6'7",
Love him.
6'7", long limbs. And
Know exactly who he is.
when we were teammates, I used to say, oh, yeah, it must be nice having that kind of leverage. I'm 5'10" on a good day, Cecil.
Right,
So
right,
when I
right.
was hitting homers, I had to stand upright and create my leverage.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember saying to Richie, it must be nice. And then he looked at me and he goes, yeah, but think of this. He goes, think of how long my arms are. He goes, you got those short arms. Less can go wrong with your swing, Brett. I've got all these big levers.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually made sense because there are challenges to being huge. Aaron Judge, he's 6'8". He's 280 pounds. He's the most prolific home run hitter of our time.
Probably one of the best athletes, though.
Unbelievable. But I think Cecil, you're a big man.
Dude,
you got a lot going on.
A
The
lot.
challenges
well,
you guys face.
The challenges are, like you said, I mean, he's just got a lot. No, I'm going to put it like this. Aaron Judge is like the prolific athlete. Number one, he played everything. He played basketball, baseball, and football, right? So you're not just you just don't have a baseball player. And I always look at it like that. I would take an athlete over a baseball player any day. A guy like Lloyd Mosby who played everything. And Shaker Mo was like speed, can hit with power, throw, run. I mean, those kind of guys are like, a scout goes crazy over people like that. Aaron Judge is one of those guys because the guy is so soft-spoken and is such a nice kid, and he's going to listen. He's going to listen. Listen, it was so cool. I met Aaron Judge with my young boy, and he was such a nice guy. He opened the thing, let my kid go in there. I mean, of course I'm there, but, I mean, he just took care of my kid. I mean, I ain't never going to forget that as a dad. I mean, I did that to so many people that it was incredible. But again, when you pass that torch on, you want to make sure those kids that are playing now do the same thing. And that kid, I've never seen that kid not be a nice person. He's a humble young man, and he deserves everything he gets. But let me tell you something. If you look at Aaron Judge's swing, he's probably got one of the nicest, sweetest, shortest swings for a 6'8" guy that I've ever seen. Dave Winfield had a big old swing, right?
Yep.
Aaron Judge takes that knob of that bat to the baseball every single time. It's unbelievable how he can take the knob of that bat to the ball every single time. And let me tell you something. He's not a high strikeout guy. He's going to make contact, but his contact is hard.
I'm watching him now, and he hit his 51st yesterday.
Yes,
he's got more
sir.
than a month to go. It's the third time he's hit 50.
Yeah.
And if he hits 60, it'll be the second time he hits 60. I'm watching him, and since Barry Bonds, I think he is the biggest difference maker in the game of baseball on the offensive side to come along. Now, there's arguments that can be made with Shohei Ohtani, but I think Judge is a step above that.
Different vibe, this guy, man. Different vibe.
Yeah, it's just Aaron Judge is so good. He's hitting he's hitting 330. He's got 51. He's got a month to play. Now he's got Juan Soto with him, who's having an MVP year as well. And the key, I think, is Giancarlo Stanton hitting behind him. And Giancarlo's he's giving him a little bit of protection now. The only way I don't think he hits 60 if they just quit pitching to him.
Well,
but he's the best since Bonds.
Listen, if those two cats behind him stay hot, he's gonna hit it. He's gonna do it because it's almost Barry as I know you agree with me, was the most electric player of our time. I mean,
no one's even close. No one's even close.
No. So you got a cat like this dude, and I watch. When I go to New York, I do a lot of stuff up there. But when I watch him, all I'm watching for is how they're going to pitch him. And every time I watch how they're going to pitch him, it's never the same, but he keeps getting the same result. So what I'm saying is, where's the hole? Oh, you want to try that up and in? Go ahead and try it, because he's going to figure that shit out and he's going to get you. You want to come down and in? That's a bad spot to be. You don't want to go in there. You want to go away? Now you let him stretch out. So where are you going? He is the most dominant player right now in the game of baseball, hands down, because Now listen, if you got a 6'8", 280-pound guy that can play center field, come on, man.
And he can play it efficiently. The only thing I
Yes.
worry about is when you're that valuable offensively, and I think he's early 30s. He might be 31, 32.
Yeah.
Do you risk the wear and tear on a center fielder's body because of what he gives you offensively on the
Well,
upside?
right now,
I think as a player, if I can play center, I'm 6'8" and I can hit 60. I want to be the greatest center fielder of all time, and I'm not worried about getting hurt.
Well, the thing about that right now is you look at our outfield, it's like he's the only one that really could play center.
Yeah.
Because, I ain't putting Soto in center.
No,
I'm not putting Soto. So the big boy, now listen, right now, as him being a young 30, he can, remember us at a young 30, we could do whatever we wanted. Jesus, we were studs. When it gets a couple more years down the road, they got to get somebody that can go to center field. They need to put him on one of the corners and just let him eat. Let him eat.
Yeah.
Because that boy is going to be something. Listen, I don't know where this thing is going to end with him, but it ain't ending for a long time. Because I'm going to tell you, Bret, that guy takes that knob of that bat to that baseball. And if you're doing that, if you ain't coming off he's so big and strong, he ain't got to come off the ball. He ain't got to pull it. He don't have to. You think you jam him, that's a mistake you thinking. Don't think. Yep. Don't think. That the guy used to say all the time, man, I thought that was a great pitch. You thought that damn great pitch just went 440 feet away. That wasn't a great pitch.
Another guy, and a big part of your life, and when your career really took off, started in Japan.
Yes, sir.
Another guy, Shohei Ohtani. He's bigger than life. He just went 40-40. He's not pitching this year because he had Tommy John, but he'll be pitching next year. I never thought something like this was going to happen. I never thought you could have a position player that was a difference maker like he is and be able to pitch at the same time. I thought maybe that's for college baseball, but until now, I never thought that was possible. In the early 2000s, I played with Ichiro.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a little bit of that Japanese culture, what it was like. I definitely got a taste of what the Japanese press was because when Ichiro came over here, I lived it on a daily basis for that first, especially that first season. We got to see a little bit of it with Hideo Nomo in the 90s. He was kind of the first one that really made a splash. But I want to talk about your career coming up with Toronto. And I looked at, I looked at your numbers and I thought Cecil really never got a chance. The most ABs you ever got in Toronto was 175.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, you get an opportunity to go to Japan. Before you went, and I know once you got there, you became a rock star. But before you went, who was the biggest name you remember, big league wise, going from big league baseball to the Japanese league before you?
I didn't even know they had a league. Let me just put it that way. So when my agent and the Blue Jays started talking about Japan, I really didn't know what the hell they was talking about because I was 25, 24 years old at the time once they started talking about it. So I had no clue. But, you see the home run hitting contest with Sal Haro and Hank Aaron. So I knew they had something going on, but I really wasn't paying attention to the baseball league. But let me tell you, when I first went to Japan and everything got squared away and I went to Japan, the kids, Ichiro was a pitcher. A lot of people didn't know this. They played the high school tournament in my ballpark at Koshin Kujo in Osaka. And all the teams from around Japan would come there and they would play for about a month. So usually that month we were on the road while they end up playing this tournament. And Ichiro was a pitcher. So at the end of the day, he probably would have been another guy that could have did it because he had a cannon anyway and could fly. But this guy we got now is a special piece because at the end of the day, man, I never would have thought anybody could go out there on the bump and throw 100 and then turn around and come to the plate and do a 40-40 piece. I never thought that would happen ever in life. But this guy is, Brett, as you know, we run into special people. In Cincinnati, I look back. I talk to him pretty much once a week. Eric Davis, great player, Cincinnati. You come to the Tigers, Kirk Gibson. You look back at them Tiger days when they were really good. Alan Trammell, Lou Whitaker. Blue Jays, you look at George Bell, Jesse Barfield, Lloyd Moses. I mean, everybody had some. Ken Griffey with you in Seattle. Everybody had that guy. And now, I guess, Brett, the baton has been, we've given the baton up, and we got some soldiers. We got a couple guys that are making things happen. And those are the things that I look at that kind of still make me feel in a positive way about baseball, is that we have some guys that are from the old school. I want to say that are bred old school, that appreciate the game of baseball, but also know the heritage, their lineage. They know why the game is where it is. One time where I really got kind of upset about the game is I asked a kid about a couple old school players, Josh Gibson, Satchel Paige, and the kid didn't even know who the hell I was talking about. So that part of it, I've always said, man, if you're gonna do something, you got to know the history of the game. You got to know the history of what you're doing. Why would you not take a little time and understand what you're doing? I think that's an important part of our game as well, is because, listen, we didn't do this all by ourselves. We didn't make this game what it is all by ourselves. There was a whole bunch of people that was involved in this game to get this game to where it is today. These boys that are playing now, they don't even understand what happened in the past for them to be doing what they're doing and making the amount of money they're making. But at the end of the day, they are some. And I think it's those guys that's, like you said, understand about the union, understand the issues, and want to be involved in what's going on. Those guys understand. But the guys that are just going out there getting that paycheck, running around, hey, doing what they do, and then when shit hits the fan, they ain't going to know what's going on. And then those going to be the guys that are going to have to be taken care of by the problem solvers like us. So at the end of the day, you're right. The history of our game is very important. And I think these kids today, there's some, but I think more of them need to really understand the past and how did we evolve to the present.